And there's going to be some music. There we go. Now we've got music. Er wird nicht dabei sein. Das ist schlecht.
Gar nicht heute.
Nee, hat er beim letzten Mal auch gesagt.
Hm.
Er ist bei der Fortbildung.
Stimmt, der ist auf seinem Kurs, ja.
Mhm.
Da war was.
Da weiß ich nichts von.
Hat er erzählt, doch. Aber Valorant spielen, ey. Muss man nicht verstehen.
Ich habe auch nie gefragt.
Yeah, well, I think we may want to skip this D&D session then.
Ist Psyker auch nicht da?
Nein.
Oh, also 2 von 4.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether I want to play 2 of 4 people. I mean, I could. But I don't want to. I don't want to for the reason that that we're actually, yeah, with what I've prepared, that wouldn't align at all. Einen wunderschönen guten Tag, Anorel TV. Good morning, sire. So yeah. Now that's a bit of a problem.
We can make a long way to the tower.
Oh, I will not play 4 hours with 2 people just walking towards a tower and forcing you to have a third roleplay session in a row. I'm thinking of if you guys got time tomorrow as well to postpone D&D to tomorrow.
That doesn't work for me. I have another session tomorrow.
Thursday?
Doesn't work for me. I have another session on Thursday.
Crap. Friday? No, on Friday I can't.
I have my own session on Friday.
Yeah, I know.
Samstag könnten wir es jetzt reinschieben.
No, I can't. Like literally, well, we could play Sunday evening, that's it. That's what I can offer.
Could work for me.
Every other day is booked for me.
It's fine.
It's fine. Yeah, let's see. Sunday evening. Let's see. Yeah, we will begin with the stream shortly. We will not play Dungeons & Dragons as the title suggests right now. But we will do something else instead. For that, to my guys here in Discord, for that I will most likely not need you to be on Discord, because I've been asked a question on how to on how to prepare for a Dungeons & Dragons campaign, like in general, like how to run a campaign and this kind of stuff. So I will make the stream about that. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. Something in the planning unfortunately went wrong here, so therefore how to there we go. Let's save that as that. That being said, yeah, that will be more of an educational video than, well, in quotes, educational video. I guess this does qualify as Dungeons & Dragons category. There we go. Everything's updated, titles are updated, we're good to go. Making sure that we not have like any unnecessary things here. Well, yeah, thank you for joining today, Sage and not Yuzika. I guess you're free to go now. Because again, like, not sure if you're needed for that, what we're doing right now. If you want to, you can stay, but I would ask you to mute actually, and maybe whenever you have like an idea of what I should add, you could just spurt that out live on stream. That could be something you could do, but again, for now I will literally just go and make sure that I have everything prepared so I can make a few slides here on how to run a Dungeons & Dragons campaign.
Sure, but I guess I'll just join the stream and not the Discord.
As you wish.
I'll first binge watch a bit of YouTube.
Yeah, sure. Do so.
I still have 3 tabs open of videos that I need to watch. And I know that you've already seen them, so.
Yeah, I guess so.
So I guess I'll be back in about an hour.
Yeah, have fun. Enjoy. If you don't like get out of your if you don't get out of that mess of watching videos, YouTube videos, I'll make sure to ping you once I've started Diablo 3, because most likely we'll play some Diablo 3 later on.
Sure, hit me up anytime. See ya, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, we've got that. And now I want to have this.
Then I join the chat. And I'll leave you
Alrighty.
too.
Cool.
So,
See you in chat then.
bye-bye stream.
There we go. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, today we're not going to play Dungeons and Dragons. Unfortunately, something has come up, so we actually can't play Dungeons and Dragons. But we will go to the scene. Let's make sure. There we go. And then there we go. Alrighty, hey Sage, nice to have you again. Okay, just making sure that I don't have typos here. Cool. Let's do that. Alrighty. First off, I need to make sure that this looks good, because it annoys me. There we go. That runs. That works perfectly fine now. Oh no. Oh crap. Yeah. Now it's plan B time. It's always good to have a plan B, and I already planned this to happen. Like I said, like I've got the question. Okay, Fangolf, how do you actually run a D&D campaign, and how do you start? Where do you start? And this kind of stuff. So, assuming that the question actually should be, "Hey Fangolf, are you how do you run a homebrew campaign?" Don't need that, thanks. I will most likely talk about homebrew stuff, because that's where I feel comfortable with talking about, as I never ever actually ran a prepared adventure of someone else. So therefore we're going and just really quickly discuss what is an adventure versus what is homebrew, and that is actually fairly easily said and fairly easily explained. So let's take a different layout here. Adventure, homebrew, taking this. An adventure is always something published by someone else that's not the Dungeon Master. Mostly it is something recognized therefore accredited by Wizards of the Coast. There we go. And as we all know, Wizards of the Coast is actually like the founder of Dungeons and Dragons, or actually the publisher of Dungeons and Dragons, of Magic the Gathering, and I think they even hold right now the Pokemon cards as well, but I'm not sure about that. Not entirely sure. Yeah, they acquired Pokemon TCG, trading card game. So Pokemon are as well published through Wizards of the Coast. I'm literally just reading the Pokemon, gotta catch them all. Exactly, Sage. I'm literally reading the article here. So Wizards of the Coast is that company that now publishes these adventure books, which roughly cost, I think, around 40 to 60 USD per copy, and it will usually contain a storyline, recommended items, and a recommendation of level to play. So obviously the storyline. So it's got the storyline, recommended items that people should have. Oftentimes it got maps. It got maps included as well, and some items that you should use, and which level your party of players should actually have in order to play this setting. So as a dungeon master, you don't have to like scale up or down. This is coming in handy because that makes most of the adventures that you can play Adventurers League ready. And Adventurers League is technically just a conglomerate of dungeon masters that are officially in a sort of club where you could go to as a player and play through there, and have like a dungeon master running one of these adventures for you, so you get to know what you actually are in for. On the other hand, a homebrew setting is usually created by yourself, or you and some friends. So one of you came up with a great idea, and you turned it into story format. And basically starting from there, as it is not like accredited or something like that, you can do anything in that world. You need to have like a certain set of things that you actually want to do, and you may want to have maps because that makes it for players easier to imagine what you are actually doing there. But technically everything you need is a story guide, and that's it. And then you can run a homebrew setting. So roughly cost 0 USD if you don't book like other services that makes the player experience better. That being said, both of them have some one thing in common, and that is literally that you can play on and offline. Therefore, it makes it one of the most accessible games that you can play, it being Dungeons & Dragons. And also, there we go. Come on. I'm gonna have this one. There we go. Therefore, it is one of the most accessible games that you can play on and offline with your friends because it is so easy to pick up. Who needs maps? Pff, we need the hard mode. Yeah, well, actually, literally, and that is what I like about this game. It is run by your imagination, by everyone's imagination. So if you're good imagining stuff, you don't need a map. It is literally just someone describes something, how far someone is apart of others, and then that's it. Full stop. No questioning, no asking. People would just accept that. So for each of these adventures that we're seeing here, right, we do need something, a base setup, if you will. So let's call this slide base setup. And with that, I don't mean like expensive costs or something like that. There we go. Let's make this a little bit smaller. Obviously there will be no more costs involved from here on, unless you're actually paying a dungeon master to come to your place and to do the dungeon mastering in that way. There are literally people out there who will offer to get to your house and run a campaign for you while you're playing with your friends there as player characters. That is absolutely in the realm of possibilities, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about you want to be a dungeon master, you want to run the campaign. So the base setup of what we actually do need is we do need the dungeon master, obviously. We do need the player characters. There we go. We do also need a non-player character, at least one. It will be multiple ones actually. And that's practically it for the very basic setup that we want to have. Base setup by Fango means put some Danbits in there and steal the whole money of the party. Shh. That's why we say how to run a Dungeons and Dragons campaign, the Fangolf approach. So we want to have a base setup, right? No, there'll be no more costs involved, most likely. We do need a dungeon master. We do need we do need like at least one to infinite players who actually are interested in playing Dungeons and Dragons. And yes, you can play with just one player just fine. That works, it's fun, and it can be really entertaining actually. Especially for if you have like one-shot campaigns where you have just one sitting, then you can literally just pick it up and play with that one player. Then you need non-player characters. Story drivers, so to say. There we go. Don't forget the damage. I will forget the damage. Just because you said it now twice. And that's your base setup. Obviously, that's not your base setup. You need an appointment to play containing location, containing time, when, and time frame as well. How long? So people can plan around it, right? So you need to be able to answer the 3 questions: when, where, and how long will it be? They're everywhere like the rabbits. They're actually not there where I actually wanted to send you guys today, Sage. So okay, so you need an appointment to play. Where, when, and how long will you play? Aside of that, everything is optional. Like, do you have snacks at home when you're playing? If you're playing in person, it's always good to have snacks. Do you want to make it like feel really, really inclusive for everyone? Do you make it like specifically inclusive for a few people in the group, and one should be excluded to have like a more realistic experience because that character may be an outcast or something like that? That's up to you what you're doing there. Let your imagination run wild. There we go. Let your imagination run wild. Once you took the step of the base setup, you know that you're the dungeon master and that you have at least one player to play with. You already have like a good idea of non-player player characters. Let's actually put that one a little bit later. We don't need that at the base setup. But we do need like an idea where to play, when to play. So you know when to have something prepared, right? So we actually need a new layer now, and then hey Annie, what's good? So how do we proceed? We have the base setup. We don't want to talk about online gaming right now. What is something that every campaign needs? Obviously, we need the world detailing. We need the story structure. We do need a tavern. Yeah, well, every D&D session needs a tavern. That's true. Like every D&D campaign. Let me put that as a title here. So we do have the world detailing, we do have the story structure, and from there it is note down where the group starts. So literally, when you're the first-time dungeon master, you should note down where your group starts, so you can let the players know up front where they start and if they know each other and all that kind of stuff. Do the group players know each other in character actually? Where exactly do they start? Tavern is a very famous starting point for characters. You could have a start in group is already, or group is already or group is already hiking towards a specific goal on a path. And something else that is very famous is also right in the heat of a battle. So you want to start a scene and make the characters actually feel kind of valuable, or you want to have like this cinematic flashback effect, put them into a fight right up front, and then they do have like this powerful level 19 character or something like that, maybe 15 character, and then you flash back, and as soon as like they're unconscious or something like that, you flash back and the character now sees everything that happened to him to get to this point. He maybe remembers now why, or the characters maybe remember now why they couldn't defeat that big bad evil guy that they fought against. So that is technically those are just some tips on on where to start. Thus, let me take that and put that. So, having a clear structure, right? A city hall as well. Yeah, a city hall works as well. Then, once you've noted down where the group starts, actually note down where the campaign ends. Write exactly what the player characters needs to fight, or who the character players needs to fight in order to have their last epic fight. Note down or write down, take a note on the idea just slipped my mind. What's good Magic Sim? Oh no, there's an end of our campaign. There's always an end. Take a rough note on how long it should take the player characters to be at this point. So you have like a time horizon where you actually where you actually can tell your players, hey, please make sure to expect that this campaign is running for like the next 5 weeks when we're playing every week. That should be done and will help you a lot. That is something I actually, after dungeon mastering now, like I've dungeon mastered for roughly a year or a year and a half or something like that. And now I'm dungeon mastering again for like a couple of months now. And only now I started to literally write down session 1, session 2, session 3, session 4. What's going to happen in session 1? What's going to happen in session 2? What's going to happen in session 3? And I plan each session up front, so I exactly know where to be, when, and why. That will help you a lot as a dungeon master to actually push your players and to have constant progress and to know what your non-player characters needs to tell to the group, which details they need to reveal, so they actually can feel more impactful. So right after you noted down where the group starts and where the campaign will end, where the campaign ends actually, campaign starts. Where does the campaign start? And where does the campaign end? There we go. That just reads better. Oh yeah. Note down possible trigger for your ending. Like sometimes players are really creative and they kinda solve the issue that you put them in front of before they will actually be at that very end that you aspired. So as a actual benefit and as a reward for your players for being specifically and especially or exceptionally creative, make sure that you have like the ending with a trigger connected to a trigger, like when they when the group manages to fight off the rebellion against the king that they're standing for, the big bad evil guy will arise and show his face for the first time and will vanquish the group from the planet. Something like that. Just note it down, and then they can have the fight. They may be under-leveled. You will need to downscale your characters then, your hero, your big bad evil guy then. That's the word. Or maybe another trigger could be after meeting the big bad evil guy for the third time, and if they talked well to him and actually showed compassion, he will alter his plans, and all of the sudden he is doing something for charity and not for evil anymore. And that will have a very cool twist and a very cool impact on your campaign as well. Find some items. Well, that's something you should do as a player. There we go. Way too much light there. And then there we go. Cool. Looting, exactly. Cool. So we're structuring the story now by having a start, an end, and we do need at least a third point. When does the campaign when does the campaign reach its pinnacle? The campaign's pinnacle. There we go. So at some point you will need to reach the pinnacle. You can make it your ending, though that would be that would feel a little bit like you're ending off with questions open, and if you don't plan to follow up on that campaign with another campaign, you need to make sure to answer all unanswered questions. So the campaign's pinnacle should be something where your player group is bound to fight the BBEG. Let me really quick. There we go. We'll have that over here. World detailing. Live. There we go. Fleshing out the story. The BBEG is the big bad evil guy, which is basically the antagonist of your story. But usually in D&D terms, we say BBEG, big bad evil guy. Because mostly, in most campaigns, it's just that super duper overlord that is so big, so bad. And he's just the evil guy, literally. So the campaign's pinnacle is usually where your player group is bound to fight the BBEG, although they know that they can't overcome him. That they can't overcome him right now. Also, it is when they get their true special powers, of what sorts that might be. Go. Gotta clean my glasses really quick. So what have we got right now? We do know where the campaign starts. We do know where the campaign ends, and we do know also, and that is very important, at which point or at which trigger the characters, like the player characters, do get their special ability to actually fight off the big bad evil of this world and bring it back to where it belongs. Here again, put a trigger. So if they're playing cleverly, you can reward them with having that special ability way earlier than they actually should have. Make the world great again. I think that big bad guy in our campaign is the boss of the Damneds. If only it was that easy. Okay, so good. So now we know how to structure the story. We have like a clear start, clear pinnacle, a clear ending. I've repeated that now thrice. Let's look a little bit into how to flesh out the story, right? Obviously, or make the world feel alive. Something I do struggle with, although I know how to make it, or although I claim to know how to make it. And having that one set, we do need an antagonist. The antagonist, and that is very important, needs to have a certain motivation to do something. The antagonist, there we go. being that big, bad, and evil comes with a flaw. So we do need to have flaws for the BBEG. Because nothing is more frustrating than fighting an enemy that seemingly has no, and I repeat, no ways to defeat him, but that one single way. It makes way more fun for the players to figure out more about the character and then attack that character, that big bad evil guy, from multiple perspectives. Maybe they can make like a psychological warfare. They can make like a melee warfare against that, like a physical one. They can fight the BBEG on a magical level. They can use the fears that the BBEG is having against it, him, her, whatever. So we do need flaws for a big bad evil guy. We do need the motivation for the big bad evil guy, and we do need to know as well something about the backstory. What made the character, or what experienced the character in the past. So whenever a player character is asking something about the character, you as a dungeon master are not sitting there like, yeah, well, no one ever heard about that big bad evil guy. That is shallow. Come on. If you run a campaign, just make sure that the big bad evil guy has like 1 or 2 stories to it, and then you can always quote out of these stories. So, write a background story, write background stories, important, multiple background stories for that character. So it feels more plastic. Vivid. Let's use vivid here. It's big and bad and evil. Exactly. But that doesn't explain why he is big and bad and evil. The motivation may be the tragic loss of the long-loved one of an elf. Like, elves do live very long. They have like a very extended period of living time, and they've lived for, let's say, 1,000 years with that one particular woman, and they can't overcome the loss of her, and now they turn mad, and actually someone hit his dog once. Yeah, that might be as well. Do not hit the golf. Golf not hit the golf. So after like this 1,000 years of living with that woman, that big bad evil guy is now like running mad, and is actually starting to trying to revenge himself in a way overscaled fashion. With that, we have 2 possible attack points as the player group. We can actually show compassion and explain why this is like exaggerated, and that killing like most of the world will not bring back the dead one. He should better like research how to revive her or something like that. Or we could literally just fight him off and that's it. But that will make it a little bit more vivid for the players as well. Yeah, someone stepped on his grass. That's right. That makes a big bad evil guy. Certainly. Aside of the big bad evil guy, we do need a companion for the group. a group companion. So the idea here is that this is someone or multiple creatures that the group can face towards and report back what they've experienced. Give your characters a possibility to shine. If you're good with running a tavern, make sure to have the tavern run. New glasses are killing me. Like if you're good with running a tavern as a dungeon master and making players feel like you like the guests of that tavern are really interested in stories, let your player characters explain in great detail all the nice adventures that they have already experienced. If you're not so good with it, as I am, as I'm not, make sure that you have like 1 or 2 characters that you always will throw at the characters and that they will know, so they can report back. That can be your storyteller as well. So those glasses are new. I thought I'm losing my mind. No, you don't. These right here are my old glasses, and these are my new glasses, but actually they are way more bent than these ones. Therefore they have a way different pressure point, and wearing over-ear headphones right now is rather painful. But I'll get used to it eventually. Someday. I didn't even notice. Yeah, it's not about that. It's about Dungeons and Dragons right now. So yeah, have your group companion in form of someone or multiple creatures the group can face forwards, can face towards to, and report back their adventures. This may be a wiser older creature that is not capable to fight anymore. Specifically, me no writing. Specifically, for dungeon crawler, for homebrew dungeon crawlers. If you have like a pacifistic creature that gathers information for the group, so it becomes like a commander, if you will. So let's call it the commander. Then you would use that creature specifically for like if you have dungeon crawlers and alike. And let me put that one right here. Let's see. We have 3, please. Ah! Don't do that. There we go. $16 is where we need to dock again. There we go. Just using that really quick. And then there we go. So you kind of have like 3 types of different campaigns. Proceeding with that before we're actually proceeding with the fleshing out of the story. There we go. And those 3 types are dungeon crawler, like my opinion about that, right? Are dungeon crawler, story/dungeon crawler, and story-driven campaigns. The story-driven campaigns are mostly story sessions. Fights are usually used to just tell some narrative parts, like you would fight a specific king, and that specific king would give you some information throughout the fight, and then that fight is gone. It's not fighting because the fighting system's so great, just because it is needed to tell the story. Then we've got the dungeon crawler, which is the exact opposite. It's mostly about fighting and very little about story. The story parts are usually used to get to the next dungeon, and roleplay is less in place needed, and also it is also the the most tactical type of campaign throughout these 3 described settings. And the story/dungeon crawler is usually something where fights will occur to entertain. The story is usually told to keep the players engaged, and is wished, but not too much needed. The roleplay is wished, but not too much needed, through both story and fights. And then this is most likely the easiest one to run, because you can send your players off into dungeons and just let the players roam around there, just come up with some items they need, and then whenever you feel ready as a dungeon master, you get them out there, you bring them into the next city and have some story. And then as soon as that story part is done, you can send them off into the dungeon again to actually do some item crawling. Most people do like that. I don't know who I am. I don't know where why I'm here. All I know is that I must kill. Yep, exactly. That is usually a dungeon crawler. Though if you are good as a dungeon master, you will at least connect it with a little bit of story, with a grain of story. We need to work on that spelling. Nah, I've got that Google thingy that will do the spelling for me. But I do know, yeah. Funny part is I wrote it correctly here. So it's literally just me concentrating on 3 things right now. And then while we're on that, I figured out why not talk about that one down to 15. And this one is probably the most controversial. Oopsie. That one was the wrong one. Yeah, transparent. Because no one can really say which type's the best one, but there are yeah, let's divide them into 3 again, right? Google, don't do that. There we go. Maybe we can bring that over here a little bit more. That one over there. Yeah, that should roughly be it. We've got the railroader. We've got the sandbox guy. Let's actually switch these ones just for the alphabetical order. And we've got the... How do we name the third one? I vaguely remember a conversation about how society gets less intelligence over time between the 2 of us. Oh, the irony. A hybrid? I wouldn't say the hybrid. Actually... Yeah, there are more grains to it, but yeah, why not go with hybrid, actually? Makes sense. So the railroader is... There we go. The railroader is a dungeon master that wants to tell a story. So the railroader usually wants to tell you a story and doesn't want you to get off his given path. That is most likely the most important part about the railroader. He will push you or the group to follow his very storyline, and sometimes even not really caring whether the players are actually appreciating the story that he is telling or not. Sometimes you need to be a railroader. That is very clear. You need to have like a clear ending and a clear start, as we already said in the beginning. But don't take this as your archetype. If you always will just push what you like, most likely your players will not play with you anymore. Make sure that everyone has the same good experience that you are having as a dungeon master. Then we've got the Sandboxer, which is practically the exact opposite. So the sandbox guy is usually a dungeon master that has a very vague and loose story that people can follow. They don't have to. He's just admiring the world that he has created, and wants the players to fully submerge in there and to not retract too early on. He overburdens the players usually with options and choices, and technically lets them have a second life experience throughout Dungeons and Dragons. He usually doesn't give any clues on where to find the next quest, information throughout a story, unless a very specific event or condition was met prior. So he would like give you only the informations that you do need when you talk to the right person at the right time in the right moment, because they make it painfully realistic. I tend to be a sandbox dungeon master. I do know that. Who needs a story? Yeah, exactly. This is very good for very, very experienced player characters. If you're a very, very experienced Dungeons & Dragons player and you just want to role play and basically use that as a stage theater, that's the best one for you. Good for very experienced player characters. Good for newbie player characters. I beg to differ. Railroading campaign can work incredibly well if done right. It heavily depends on how you can tell your story. your group's expectations for the campaign, and your group's will to find their place in said campaign. There is no wrong type of dungeon mastering. Only good ones and bad ones. Now that's nonsensical. That's nonsensical. Either there is no wrong type, or there is. There are no good or bad ones in that manner. But I do say that if you are a railroader, you are most likely not to succeed in terms of why is that tick smaller? Got distracted. Very sorry. I'm confused. Yeah, so the I'm so confused. Yeah, so the railroader is usually not liked because the extreme of a railroader, and that is what I present here, is usually one very stubborn dungeon master. I'm not talking about, and that is a different kind of dungeon master that I will not talk about a how do we say that, a show master, a show Dungeons and Dragons master, because these guys are railroading as well. They need to railroad, but everything in those shows usually is planned from A to Z. Like which character has which traits to fulfill which purpose later on. The players usually know what they're playing towards to, which in a homebrew setting or in a home campaign setting, you do not have that, at least. Let me put this way. You're giving an access from Railroad to Sandbox and measure it that way. I'm giving the same access as well as a y-axis for good and bad. You can be anything from a bad railroader over a good railroader to a bad sandboxer and a good sandboxer. Exactly, but that is not something we can reflect on this slide as I've created it right now. We would have to redo that. And then the hybrid again is basically the mix between all of these three, and I'm getting really annoyed here by Google Slides. So we do have a hybrid that is who wants to tell a story, wants to give people freedom to explore the given world. Railroads when needed to succeed in terms of time management, and sandboxes when there's time to spare and people are having fun on a specific event going on. And that, in my opinion, is the hybrid Dungeon Master. There we go. It wasn't the demons. He's real again. Yeah, you've been watching too much Mr. Balin there. So, yeah, in the beginning, you want to choose which Dungeon Master type you are. Let me uniform this. There we go. Just making sure that it looks nice and neat. I will, by the way, I will... What the... There we go. Cool. I will actually provide this these slides that we're creating right now on my Discord, !Discord in chat. Yeah, !Discord in chat to retrieve the link, and with that you can actually join my Discord and retrieve the link to the how to run a D&D campaign. Cool. Making this utmost beautiful for you guys. Base setup, world detailing, we come to that in a second. We've been at fleshing out the story, the actual story. Cool, that's our outer frame here. Why wouldn't it snap to this one? Cool. Okay, so if we're fleshing out the story, we do need the big bad evil guy. We've talked about that earlier on a lot. We do need a group companion that is always reappearing to have a constant throughout the game, who is not really changing. We don't want to have change in the character because he's basically the constant, the only constant throughout the whole campaign. The player characters needs to evolve. They are forced to evolve because of the story that they're playing through, or, well, unless you're playing a dungeon crawler, obviously. Also, like the environment changes sometimes. The big bad evil guy does change somewhat as well. So it is the constant throughout the game. Really can't spell throughout, as never changes character. Unless for plot twists. Is that one word? There we go. My brain sometimes. There we go. Let's duplicate that one. Can we please? Thank you. Wait a second. Why doesn't it change the language? Anyway. Anyway. Cool. Okay, aside of the group companion, the big bad evil guy, which are the two most important things to flesh out your story, you do need some really not sure how to spell that one. Acquaintances. There we go. Acquaintances. Yep, there we go. That's a word. Relatives and acquaintances of player characters are actually the most powerful, the utmost powerful tool of a dungeon master to create strong emotions in a player character, or in a player themselves. Sometimes break the fourth wall and make sure to submerge the player via that. But mostly you will just need like some relatives, acquaintances of the character that those player characters have, those players have actually fallen to like, and then mess with them. Don't mess with the character themselves, but mess with their acquaintances, their relatives. That way they feel a little bit helpful, they feel a little bit inferior, and helpless, not helpful. They will feel helpless, they will feel inferior, and that will trigger the courage to stand up for someone. That's the easiest hook for you to make the player characters stand for someone. Could be a whole city as well. Just needs to be something they're attached to. Then, if you're telling a story, it needs ups and downs. So as in real life, everyone wants to have dramatic events or needs to have dramatic events and some fun events to countermeasure these dramatic events. And that can vary from death from relatives to from the death of a relative to having the fair in a city. Yeah, a fun fair, actually. A fun fair in a city they reside in right now. The group resides in. It can be it can vary from that they've got news that their plans can't be fulfilled as they've planned to a specific plan is given by an NPC, and these kind of contrasts can be used here. And yeah, downs will actually give the players something to ponder and wanting to set right. So the next time they will know that there was this very epic fight where the character companion, for example, was killed, or the group companion was killed, and now they want to take revenge on that very specific enemy, and that very specific enemy levels up to be the big bad evil guy. That may be a down, and they will think about that, and they will talk outside of the sessions about that, if they're connected. And those ups will nourish the group's how to say the group's spirit, and also will allow for distraction. So while you as a dungeon master are planning ahead and are thinking about certain things, you may want to distract them. And if you are a dungeon master, as I am, and you are actually planning things for certain dates, you can use that to distract your players. Don't overdo that. Don't make too harsh things happen throughout those fun fairs or whatever fun event you are actually planning for them, because players will realize, oh shoot, our dungeon master is punishing us for having fun. That's not what we want to do here. This is literally just maybe a distraction for a build-up drama, or it is something to make the players forget about some details they have previously received. This is maybe something very, very harmless, where you just want to have some fun and make the players laugh, because laughing connects. So this is what you actually want to plan up front as well. Having some dramatic events, don't plan all of them. Most of them will come on the fly, but have some of them for certain, as well as fun events. And for a basic setup, I would say if you have the big bad evil guy, if you have a group companion who can be your narrator, I had it right on the first time. Why did I change it? Anyway, so the group companion can be your narrator as well, but having the BBEG, having the group companion, having relatives, acquaintances of your player characters, or building bonds actually throughout the sessions with your characters, player characters, and having some dramatic events and some fun events should set you up fairly good for at least 8 to 12 sessions. Maybe even just one session, depending on how big you scale. World detailing, make sure that you only detail what's really needed. If you are going to play in one city and one city only because it's a one shot, or you don't plan outside of the city walls, make sure to only plan and do the world detailing, in that terms then city detailing, to detail and flesh out only the city. Have that one fairly good described. You don't need a whole planet planned if you never plan to leave the city. That's what I mean. Also, if you're planning your world and if you're fleshing out your world, just answer, let's say, 3 questions. Do you have multiple continents? Okay, based on these 3 questions, maybe not in that order. There we go. In this order. So if you answer, are there factions fighting each other in this world? You can already start a story just around that. Do you have multiple continents on that planet that you're planning? If so, like, what's the most prominent race on each of those continents? You can make that a racial thing. You can make the whole story a racial thing. You can make the whole story a thing about reuniting every continent. You can make your story about the big bad evil guy has split that one continent that the whole world once was, and now you have to reunite them and to puzzle them together, to piece them together. That is why I say you basically only need 3 questions, and these 3 questions are just examples. You just need to answer 3 questions in your world detailing to be able to answer the most important things about your world when a player asks something, and also to actually set up your story. So I would say the world detailing is certainly coming before actually fleshing out your story and structuring your story. While structuring the story should come first, and then the fleshing out should come. I just have put it in that order because BBEG happens here, but is explained here. Anyway, you're smart guys. You will realize how to read that. So we've got the story structure, we've got the world detailing. Let me put this one down here. Cool. And then in the end, let's have one more slide. Let's call that FAQ. Call it PAQ, not FAQ, but PAQ. Possible ask questions. So something you may possibly ask, and that didn't get crystal clear throughout these slides. And and will be answered now. Where do I start if I want to Dungeon Master? That's an easy one. Where do I start if I want to Dungeon Master? That's an easy one. Find a group to play with and ask them what scenario they would actually like to play. More often than not, players are more than happy to be asked, okay, what scenario do you want to play in? Especially when you directly approach them and say, hey, I want to play Dungeons and Dragons, I want to be a Dungeon Master, I've never done that before. Most experienced players will be very happy to just support you with that, to just let you know, okay, I do like this and this, from experience I can tell I like that and that. If they are actually new players, they bring in all those crazy ideas because they are not bound to the D&D universe yet. Therefore, just go and ask your players. About which scenario they would like to play. I found a group, but we're not local. How do we play online? For that, I would say there are multiple ways to do that actually. And one of them was the thing that I've actually tried. Oh yeah. Read the player's handbook. Very important part for when you're starting to be a dungeon master. If you found a group but you're not local and you want to play online, you can play on Discord. Get together, have everyone roll their dice in real life, as well as keep their character sheets in real life, and you're good to go. There we go. Go to platforms like Roll20.net or just basically Google online D&D platform, and it will let you know. I'm checking for another possibility. Then we've got Fantasy Grounds. Exactly, that's the other one. Fantasy Grounds is a software that everyone has to buy and can be used. Tabletop Simulator would work as well. Yeah, and like those would be my recommendations there. Those are the things that I do know, and that work wonders. So you now have your group. You have the scenario idea. You've got a player's handbook that you've already read as a dungeon master. You also found the platform that you want to play on, like online or offline. You've prepared all those maps. Now, do I need to voice act? Role play. Do I need to voice act or role play? No, you do not need to do that. That is just fluff and may enhance the experience for your players, but that is certainly not needed, nor it's expected for from a beginner dungeon master. So whenever you have a group that is expecting you to role play or to voice act as a beginner dungeon master or an experienced dungeon master even, you should think about who is driving that thought in the group and get him out as soon as possible. I'm not saying that to blame anyone or to actually say that you shouldn't be open for critics. But having someone on this level nagging is certainly someone who just wants to have planned D&D, and if you're not willing to do the planning, and if you're not like into the dungeon master role play / voice acting, then this player will make you feel miserable, and therefore your the experience for all other players will be bad as well. So that is maybe something that is something you want to consider then to just kick that person out. That is nothing personal then. That is literally just you trying to give the best experience to all your players. I have a player that constantly complains. How do I handle that? Or I have a player that constantly complains without me asking for actual feedback. How do I handle that? Sit together once or maximum twice. With that player. In order to actually figure out what the real issue is. Usually the issue is not what they talk about in that moment. Sometimes people are just not reflected enough, or they can't reflect fast enough to figure out why they're feeling bad about your campaign. So rest assured, usually it's not you as a dungeon master that did something wrong. It's just been a bad day for that player or something like that. And if after sitting together with that person twice, still there's negative feedback and that there are still constant complaints, just consider to kick that person out. Because again, that person will drag you down, will make you feel miserable, maybe will make you change something about the Dungeons & Dragons dungeon mastering that you actually liked very much, and then that will reflect on the rest of the group. The rest of the group will see that person complaining, and if he's complaining constantly, the brain of the player will actually, or of everyone will actually be like, that person's always complaining. There needs to be something wrong. Why don't I see it? And then they will start to look for things that are actually bad. Just make sure to not have that happen in your group, and you're fine. You have the freedom to kick players out of your group. You are the dungeon master. And if they take it personal, leave that out of the Dungeons & Dragons group, but just talk to that person then and let the person know that you're still friends with them and that you're still fine. And from your side, there's no hard feelings. You just wanted to give the maximum, the positive maximum experience to your players, and you didn't felt like that person would be fitting in. If that person's not fine with that, and if that person's making a drama out of it, that would lead into a whole different stream now, but cut that person out of your life. Depending on which, obviously depending on which relation you're into that in with that person, right? Don't cut your significant other out of your life just because that person was nagging in Dungeons and Dragons and carrying it out of Dungeons and Dragons. So sit together once, maximum twice, with that player to find out what the underlying issue is. If persistent complaints, if complaints persist, take your freedom as a DM to kick that person out of the group. Throughout, again, I wrote it now like 10 times today, and I'm always writing around. So yeah, if complaints persist, take your freedom as a dungeon master to kick that person out of a group, out of the group, not any group, but that very group that you are leading, and make sure to let the person know that this is to keep the motivation and engagement high throughout the players, and it's nothing personal. There we go. If you got more questions, again, I will post that. I can post that right now into, there we go, into my Discord. And copying that one, I post it right now into my Discord. And if you are actually, if you actually have more questions to it, just write them on my Discord. Let me know about your questions, and I will make sure to elongate that possible ask questions and make it an actual FAQ. But in my opinion, these may be questions that are unanswered throughout the slides. I will add, I didn't want to duplicate. I wanted to paste a new one and have an empty one, and then I want to have a summary. Where did they put it? Seriously. Where did it go? We don't need that one. We didn't add that one. Could have sworn would be in here. Diagram? Nope. No. No. Nope. When did they change it? When did they change it so that you actually can't add a summary? Or am I just overreading it? We don't need the zoom. We don't need the ruler. We don't need these ones. I don't need text fields or pictures. I don't need any forms or tables. I literally want to have summary. Ooh, wait. Yeah. Okay, we need there we go. We've got presentation numbers now, slide numbers now. We do need the summary. Let's have that one just go from there to there, easy peasy, and then center it, maybe a little bit larger. Maybe we just, yeah, why don't we reformat that to be this one right here. Summary. Slide 3. Adventure versus Homebrew. Slide 4. Campaign types. Slide 5. Dungeon Master types. Slide 6. Base setup. World detailing, story structure, fleshing out the story, and PAQ. Slide 7. World detailing. Slide 8. Story structure. Slide 9. Fleshing out the story. Slide 10. Fleshing out the story. And slide 11. Possible ask question. Possibly asked questions. Possibly asked questions. There we go. Cool. So Now we make it a little bit more beautiful to look at. Just making sure that it looks good. Yeah, that's annoying now. But we'll have to live with that. Yeah, something I can't change. I think if we were to put a 0 in front of these, would that change a thing? Nope. That doesn't change anything. Or does it? Ah, there we go. It does change a thing. Cool. Alrighty. We've got all the slides covered now. Everyone knows now what to find on which slide, so they can just refer to, let's say, slide 6. They look over here, see slide 6, and see base setup. Nice, bada bing, bada pow. You need a dungeon master, you need to play characters, you need an appointment to play. Full stop. Costs may occur. Still wrong. You've got Wi-Fi? That's nice. What's good, Gensha? Nice to have you. Yeah, we've shifted over from playing Dungeons & Dragons today to actually clarifying how to run a Dungeons & Dragons campaign, because that has been a question I've been recently asked. And we would only have been 2 players today. Therefore, I decided no Dungeons & Dragons session today. So you don't miss anything. Unless you want to know how to run a Dungeons & Dragons campaign. Can occur if played digitally. Occurs still without an E. Dungeon Master's Guide. So these have been my starting and reference points, which I had to pay. There we go. I checked Discord and Fen looks ready to give a TED talk. You're late for my TED talk. I already have talked for now like 1.5 hours and more. So we're already at beautifying the whole experience that we're getting from here. So yeah, we've been actually running through how to run a Dungeons & Dragons campaign, and if you guys have more valuable input for that, please make sure to write that onto my Discord, into the English chat, or make a thread to the link directly, specifically to the link, and I will reply to that and add those ideas. But yeah, I would say for now, we're pretty much done with this. And then I wanna make sure to have. Now we're going to the fun part. We've got everything that we need, and we've got the all the stuff that we need, and then now we can go into. I actually would like to. Yeah, just put that one. There we go. Open sans. All of that's open sans. Yes, that worked. Still don't know why it's in English, but Nice. This one we would change to be that one, just because it looks a little bit more dynamic. Because why not make it look as good as possible? I have to say they're pretty rough to me, but I guess it has to be. Rough in which terms do you mean? Like, is it difficult, or are they just not making it easy, or what are we talking? Now I wish to have that one, and then we've got this one, right? I wanna have. Maybe I don't wanna change that one. Let's go in here. New document, web, full HD. Where's my full HD resolution? Create. There we go. Cool. We want to have that one. That's our background base. And then usually the player's handbook is held in these reddish colors at the cover, and then we've got, there we go, we've got black framed letters, black framed white letters, and red letters as well, black framed red letters. Well, the D&D actually has a black fade. Welcome to the stream, by the way, Permit. So I want to pick up on that idea. So therefore, we don't want to fade. We do want to have a border. I want to have a border. Inner shadow. No, inner shadow. There we go. There we go. Have this one. Have the intensity go up a little bit. Not too high. Cool. Change the color. Now I would like to make it a little bit more pastel. There we go. Just realized that we're not full in frame for some reason. Let's make sure that we get in frame here. Cool, we are now. Um, Yeah, just taking the slightest hint of red here. There we go. And now we can have an actual white box. Oh, crap. There we go. Now we can have an actual white box with a black frame. There we go. That one now can be white. Now we can have just the tiniest bit of a frame there. And then slide that one tiny bit out of the frame, so we don't have it actually too prominent on the left hand side. Make this one its little brother for the subtitle. And maybe a little less opaque, or a little bit more opaque, that way around. And then in the background, why not put D&D? There we go. Yeah, that will not do. We will go way bigger. Oh, I wish we could go way bigger. Can we make it bold? We can. Then let's see if we can have like a good handwriting here. What is coming close to the original one here? Obviously none of them. That would be too great if we could have one of them being very, very close to it. But I don't think we have. Oof. We would just go with the standard one. That one being now the red one. I want to have a little bit less spacing in between the characters actually. If that would be possible, I'm pretty sure it is. I just don't know how to do it with that tool. Navigator, we don't need that one. We do need... Nope. Nope. Yeah, while we're on it, we do need the outer shadow. There we go. And looking at that, I'm pretty certain we don't need this one to have a color at all. There we go. Now if we have that one anyways, we can make that, we can do that. And we don't need the shadow. Just want to click the right layer again. And just like that, we get to have a neat little graphic that we can insert there. We just need to open it. Where did I save it? Over here. Now we just bring it into the background. There we go. Now we align the box, the text box actually, with that box. And this box we align with that box down here. Yeah, text is just too large to fit. There we go. Fun fact: we could have done all of that just in Google Docs, in Google Slides. I just like to create those slides. I just prefer to create them in a different program than Google Slides. Because here we would have to take like the text box, and then we would have to find how we put like the frame color of the text box, and we would have to have like the fill color. That would be the frame color, that would be the fill color, and that would have worked as well. And I think we can make text with like drop shadow around it, but to find all that, it's way quicker for me to go into a tool and do my work in there. This color here still needs to be changed. Yeah, we could have like more fancy slides here, but I think that already is enough to just make a good impression. And that is literally what it's for, the first slide, just for having a good impression, a good first impression, so people actually want to read it. And from here on, it's literally just checking these spots. And again, finding slide 11, cool, slide 11. And then read through these. There we go, don't slide that one anymore. Yeah, and now if we go to present, we will find all the infos that we actually want to have. Hopefully. I should also be able to have a view where I just see like see it like you do without being able to comment and such. Apparently they removed that, or it was never in slides. Anyway, I think we're safe, or I'm safe to say that I'm out of ideas on how to run a campaign there. I gave you all my intel. I hope that's enough for now. If you have more questions, just make sure to go on my Discord and write your questions in there. And then let me actually fire up. Let me actually restart my stream really quick. We'll go to play. We're going to play some Diablo there again. Just some item grinding. I want to make sure that we. Yeah, I want to make sure that we that we have these in separate streams. So I will restart my stream now, and we'll be back in a second.